I never expected that because he's 11 years older than me. So I thought, and I said this, you married a young woman, and he'll remind me that often. Oh, you remember you said, you know, he'll remind me of that, like, oh, where that youngness at? You know, so we have lots of conversations about this sex thing because of that.
And I told her when I get 10 more years older and she get 10 more, I'm still gonna be chasing her around.
Thanks for bringing that up, because there's a couple that we counsel, and the woman in this situation wants it. It's like she wants it, and he's just like, I'm good. I'm really good. And it's causing her to masturbate, it's causing her to watch porn, it's causing her to begin to look, not that she's approaching or getting involved with other men, but it's causing her to begin to gaze at other men, and it's an issue that they wanted to address in their relationship. And so we had to deal with it. And so what you have to do is enter into, here we go again, marital negotiation. Marital negotiation. I don't believe in the word compromise. I hate that term because it takes on a negative tone. Because if we have to compromise, that means either she's losing and I'm winning, I'm losing and she's winning, or we're both losing because we're both unsatisfied. But when you take on negotiation, they are solution-oriented conversations where you basically identify what the issue is, number one, because you got to be clear on the issue, and then you give your perspective on that issue, and then you come up with a number of possible solutions to resolving that issue. And based upon the 20 solutions we come up with, we pick these 3 strategies from these solutions, and you begin to implement. And then what happens is, so we work with this couple, and so they agreed. One wanted it several times a day, several times a week. The other one wanted it maybe twice a month. So we got them on a path. See, it's all about getting on the path. If I could put you on the right path, whether you get there quickly or slowly, it's about being on the path and going in the right direction. So we negotiated a number of times that they would have sex and be sexual with no penetration. Okay? And they made a commitment to it, and it actually began to help their relationship, because the more he began to do it, the more he began to desire it. And she, with her high level of intensity, was willing to work with her husband, and they're both in a better place. Go ahead.
You really said what I was going to say, just scheduling it, We schedule everything, and I used to think that was so not sexy, and just, who schedules sex? It should be spontaneous, But I realized, especially as the kids came along, you really need to schedule this thing or it's just not going to happen. People are working, you got the schedule with the kid and activities and things of that nature. By the end of the night, you're worn out. I was doing laundry, cooking. All these excuses come into play. So for Hasani and I, because his sex drive is 10 times higher than mine, and I'm the one that's like, I'm good, I'm fine, let me know when you need something. That's not good for him. That's not good for him, because he wants to feel desired. He doesn't want to tap my shoulder, and let me know. He wants me to come and let him know, okay, look, it's our day, So scheduling really helped us, and that's what we used with that couple to just make sure that everybody's needs were met, and we negotiated an amount of days that just made sense with our schedule. Some of y'all have more flexible schedules than us, and y'all, if you don't have any children in the house, y'all could be like rabbits every day, but we can't. So it's important to schedule it.
How do you negotiate frequency?
How did we negotiate frequency? We looked at our calendars. And for us.
Yes.
Because our schedules are very intense.
So let me explain that. Let me make that practical to you. I'm going to give you a schedule. This is another technique that you can practice. Right? So, I'm going to tell you, the reason why you have a frequency problem in your marriage is that one of you have prioritized sex and the other has not. It's just that simple. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I'll say it again. The reason why there's a frequency problem in your marriage is because one has prioritized sex and the other has not. So, when you're thinking about a calendar and you're free to take a calendar when you get home and begin to schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. All right. Before we fill the calendar out, all right. So there's certain priorities that we all have in life. What would you, and I'll just help you because we're short on time. Generally, when it comes to priorities, how many would you say that God is a priority?
Yes.
God is a priority.
Yeah. In your life?
Yes.
Okay. How many of you, by a show of hands, think that family is a priority? Okay. Work, priority. Recreational activities, extracurricular activities.
Above, that's before work.
That's before work? Okay.
Balance.
All right. So we'll just stop here for the sake of our time. So we have God, family, work, and extracurricular activities. Now, what's deep is, if you have your priorities in the wrong order, it will affect your life. If your priorities are in the right order, it will affect your life. So when we say family, there's two categories here. We're talking about marriage and children. So really quick, if for me, work is, as a man, because the Bible says, man needs to work. If work is my number one priority, and I prioritize work over family, I become a workaholic. I am now working at the expense of my family. So not working for them, not working to support, but I'm working at the expense of my family. That may be out of order. If extracurricular is a priority, and I prioritize that over time spent with God, not church, relationship with God, my priority may be out of order. Church, technically, what do you think church falls into in these four categories?
After work, it should.
In these four categories,
Or after
He said after
with those four categories.
family.
I didn't ask you to insert church in the priorities. I said in these four, there's only four: God, family, work, extracurricular. Where does church show up?
Extracurricular.
Who says work? So you work at your church? Okay, who says family? Family? Who says extracurricular? Technically, it's extracurricular. Because the church should not come before your family.
Oh, you meant you said I thought church.
Yeah.
Church.
I was thinking
Sunday
like-
service, Tuesday night prayer, Wednesday night Bible study, Friday night choir rehearsal.
I consider
Saturday
part of
mission.
family though.
Really?
Family is going to church together. My
Okay,
family is
all right.
going together. My family is, in my house, we all go to church. So
Okay.
that's family time too.
So church is family time.
In addition to,
Okay. Yes, technically as a family, you can go to church. You can do that. But how many marriages and families have been wrecked and ruined
Yes.
because the church has become their priority over family? How many divorced pastors do you know?
Oh.
Or ministers? Or regular lay folks, lay persons do you know? Because everything was church. I come from a family where there's nothing but apostles and bishops and ministers and deacons, so I know the church. I know it very well. And if there's not proper balance, it can affect. So when dealing with the family, it's in two categories: marriage and children. What comes first? When you get married, what comes first? When you have a family, what's first? Your marriage or your children?
Marriage. Cause of the word.
marriage.
It should be your parents, your children.
All right, so let me tell you about the problem with having a child-centered marriage, and then I'll talk about sex, and then we'll take a break. Give me 3 minutes. When you're dealing with marital patterns that ultimately end in divorce or infidelity, one of the biggest patterns is what is called the child-centered marriage, where it's all about the children. The resources go to the children, the time goes to the children, the energy goes to the children, everything goes to the children. So Danielle and I are married. I have on my husband hat, she has on her wife hat. We have kids. We permanently take our husband and wife hat off and put on our mommy and daddy hat. So now, the one thing that binds us together is the child. That becomes the wedge in between the marriage. So, the energy, the resources, the commitment, the compassion, the affection that we put into each other now goes into the child. What does that do? That causes two problems. Number one, it creates a self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic child. Why? Because if the child is the number one beneficiary of the marriage, and everything goes to the child, and it's all about the child, and whatever the child wants, the child gets, and the world begins to revolve around the child. Every day is a holiday for that child. So that child grows up, becomes an adult, enters into adult relationships, and now they have a me, myself, and I mentality because that's all they've ever known growing up in a household. The other problem is with the married couple, because they're no longer connected. So now I get jealous of my children because of the emotional connection and the affection that my wife gives my child that I no longer get. And that works both ways. So when it comes to money, I want to go on a date, but the child wants to join karate. The child wants to join dance. The child wants to join baseball or football. So now we got to sacrifice for the child. But what about the marriage? So now when that child turns 18,